When did Yu-Gi-Oh become this complicated? Let's watch.
You can ritual summon this card with Mitsurugi Ritual. Monster your opponent controls lose 800 attack. You can reveal this card in your hand, special summon one Mitsurugi monster from your deck, then tribute one monster you control.
There, I'm like, okay, you know what? I that sounds reasonable. I can understand that. Yeah.
You can only use each of the following effect of Amino Habakiri no Mitsurugi once per duel. If this card is distributed, you can add one Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand, then you can special summon this card. Yup, that's Habakiri.
Yeah.
And that's one card.
That's like three cards in one. Alright, don't worry. I get it. I could feel so don't worry.
And that paragraph is full with effects and conditions, which is considered pretty normal by modern standards. Now let me show you the next card.
Yeah, that's the meme card. It's not even a serious thing to say anymore.
Let me show you guys some cards that we knew growing up.
Oh yeah, Port of Greed.
Ultimate Wizard versus Ultimate Creature of Destruction. You glance at it for 2 seconds and you already know everything that you need to know.
Okay, but like, isn't this like super like boring? Like, oh yeah, like, what's the point of this, right? This is barely a game, right? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, there is no strategy involved.
Then there's this. This is what a Yu-Gi-Oh field used to look like. 2, maybe 3 cards. You could see the entire mat. You knew exactly what was happening and where everything was. And this is what a Yu-Gi-Oh field looks like now.
What is this, Cashtira?
Yep, both of these are the exact same.
Alright, this is okay. This one I get it. It's because there is a lot of things happening at the same time, right? This is when you mill, I think, and you have to activate all those effects, right? Yeah, I agree. Smashing meatballs together isn't fun time to me. I 100% agree. I see this like fighting normal monsters. I'm like, but like, I wouldn't be playing that. I wouldn't have a. If the game was like that, I wouldn't have a Yu-Gi-Oh channel right now. I wouldn't be doing this. Hello, Jonathan. Welcome. That's unfair. They don't have effects. Yeah. We can. I understand the argument for a middle ground, right? I can understand an argument for the middle ground, like, but like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I rarely see normal monsters these days outside of early on Rush duels. And there is some meme decks, but those are not like serious decks, obviously. Tell someone to resolve Fiber Jar or Penguin Knight with all card text. Yeah, that's also true. That's also true. There are some cards that they didn't have like a standard way of saying the effects, like not saying, what is the word? Like writing the effects? I don't know. You get what I mean?
Same game. So a couple weeks ago, I posted a video about a grandpa who broke the Yu-Gi-Oh championships with Exodia. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Alright, we haven't watched that video in particular, but we know this story. We have watched like different videos about this. We already know.
In the comments, someone wrote, "This game has become more complicated than my calculus class." Yeah. A grandpa who won the match with Exodia, and one of the top comments wasn't even about the win. It was about how wild and complicated Yu-Gi-Oh has become.
Okay.
And that's what today's video is all about how we actually got here.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
And I know this question gets asked
All right.
constantly. You've seen Reddit threads. You've been that.
Oh my god, I'm sorry for the people who click into this video like expecting me to agree with this, but I have literally the opposite opinion, right? Like, I know, I understand that it's really complicated. Obviously, it's really complicated and it's hard to get new players. But that's what's fun about it. That's what's fun about it.
Person in a card shop holding a card your opponent activated and squinting. What the heck does this do?
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Where the game is right now, it is 25 years old. It has 6 different summoning mechanics, and in the right matchups, if you go first and draw.
Alright, to be fair, Synchros and XCs are way simpler than the fusion itself, right? I think Link also is like that. It's just like the effects of the Link monsters are complicated, usually. But it's still like really simple. I would say like Link is simpler. So having more doesn't mean that it makes it more complicated. Because if anything, they makes it simpler than fusion and ritual. Pendulum though, I agree. that is like not intuitive. Yeah.
draw well, your opponent genuinely might not get to play. They sit there and watch you build a board for 30 minutes. And on their turn, every card they activate gets told no before they can even do anything.
So true.
So how the heck did we get here? Did someone at Konami in 2002 look at a children's card game about Egyptian magic and think, yeah, in 20 years, a single turn might require a spreadsheet? The honest answer is kind of sad. It got here because of how it was originally built. Decisions made early and innocently that locked it into a path that it couldn't really escape from.
Interesting.
Before we get into any of that though, I need to say something up front, because I think if we skip this entire argument falls apart.
Do we skip it? Do we skip it? I wonder why he needed to introduce this next topic like that. I don't know what it is, but let's see.
The original game was not good.
Oh, based. I wasn't expecting that because he's always glazing like the old stuff. He was kind of glazing the old stuff at the start of the video, so I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, I agree.
Calm down. It was incredibly fun, and I say this as someone with very strong feelings about it. But balanced, fair, not even close. Yu-Gi-Oh was a mess, a lovable, nostalgic mess that we all have enormous emotional attachment to because we were 10 years old and everything felt magical when we were 10. But pick up the game today with fresh eyes, you'd see the cracks immediately. Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards.
Yeah, that's unfair. That's unbalanced.
Just draw 2 cards for free in a game where cards are your main resources. It was obviously so broken that Konami had to ban it in 2005, and they have never touched it since. Not once in over 20 years. On the other hand, Graceful Charity lets you draw 3 cards and discards 2. Also banned.
This card is so good. So, like, it becomes like better, right? With time, it becomes better. Like, there is more reasons to have this banned now.
Delinquent Duo. You spend 8,000 light points and your opponent has to pitch 2 cards from their hand on turn 1 before they'd even have a chance to do anything. And then there was the Yatagarasu lock, which is one of my favorite pieces in Yu-Gi-Oh's history because it involved being completely destroyed by a tiny bird. But on its own, it wasn't really a problem. The combo was Chaos Emperor Dragon, a monster that when activated, nuked both players' hands and field at once. The trick was keeping a Sangan on the field once Chaos Emperor Dragon resolves. So when Sangan gets sent to the graveyard, you can add Yatagarasu directly from your deck into your hand.
This is what Yugiboomers miss, right? This is what Yugiboomers such as like me miss. This was the time, dude. The game was so fun during this. Hello, Yusei. Welcome.
Normal summon it, and this is where the most devastating Yatalock begins. And what this does is that when your Yatagarasu deals damage, your opponent skips the draw phase. So what happens when your opponent has no cards on the field, no cards in hand, and Yatagarasu just openly attacks every single turn? Yes, you're in an infinite Yatalock, and you can't even draw your way out of it. My point is, the old game had first turn kills and unfair loops before the community even had a name for the concept. The nostalgia is real, but that doesn't mean the problems weren't. The thing I want to push back on is the idea that complexity is what changed. Because even when the old game was broken, you could still follow what was happening. You could still easily read the cards. Pick up any card from 2002. Read it. Summon Scope.
Okay, hold on. From 2002. I'm sure someone in the comments can let me know how there were so many cards that had such convoluted effects in 2002. I'm sure there were some cards. Like, obviously, it was really uncommon, but I'm sure there were. Unless your opponent has Mario the Fallen one or Dark Lord Mary to restore 200 LP. Bruh. Any? Yeah. I don't think that's that simple. Hello, Devin. Welcome.
Oh. 2,500 attack, 1,200 defense, 1 tribute. Simple. Mirror Force, when your opponent monster attacks, destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. Change of Heart, target 1 monster per controls, take control of it until the end of this turn. Done! You didn't need to cross-reference anything or need any complex rulings to understand what these cards did. The
Do people call the judge at this time? They didn't call. They weren't judge sharks at the time, right? Much simpler days.
brokenness back then was visible. You could see pot of greed resolve, you could see the Yato lock tightening in real time, and because you understood exactly on what's happening, there was at least a sense that you could have done something about it. It still felt like a game where two players are still playing against each other. Compare that to sitting across someone in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, where they play one card, chain off 30 effects, and by the time the dust settles, you're looking at a field you can't interact with. That's the actual shift. Things just didn't get more powerful. They got unreadable.
I love this, dude. This card is such a meme. I don't even know what it does. I never read this card. Someone summoned it one time in a dual room stream, I think. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this could be my opportunity to actually read this card, but I'm not gonna. No, sometimes you just lose to CD Yata. That's it.
That's what people mean when they say the game got too complicated. All right, so why?
Why?
Because I genuinely don't think the answer
Sell
is just
more
Konami
cards?
is greedy. Or at least, that's not the whole story.
Okay.
The game got
My
complicated
bad, I guess.
because of how it was originally designed. And there are three things in the design that made this all unavoidable from the start. Every other major card game has some version of a resource system. In Magic, you need lands to cast spells, and the more powerful the spell, the more lands you need to play first. Want to drop something game-ending on turn 1? Well, you can't. It costs 7 mana, but you only got 1 land. Pokemon uses energy cards. Hearthstone gives you mana crystals. The specific differs, but the idea is the same across all other major games. Powerful plays are gated behind something you have to accumulate over time.
But that's the cool part about Yu-Gi-Oh, right? You can do whatever you want. You can just play, right? Debatable, but I get his point. Yeah, no, I understand. Lands are the worst method of mana, in my opinion. Well, wasn't it the first? Or at least one of the first ones? I mean, it makes sense, right? I understand why it exists. I guess Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't like exactly invented with that in mind, right? Because it was just supposed to be a silly thing for a manga. Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh just didn't do that. You draw 5 cards, and as long as you got the right cards in your hand, you can do things with them immediately. The whole game basically runs on card effects as their own currency. This sounds liberating, and in some ways it is, but it creates a specific headache for the people designing the cards. In Magic, if something is printed way too strong, the fix is simple. Charge more mana for it. There is a dial for that. In Yu-Gi-Oh,
What?
that dial basically doesn't exist. So when Konami...
What do you mean dial? Like if it's too good, you just like how do you know that it's good before it's played, right? You cannot change the card after that unless you made a new version of the card. But they they have a rotating system, right? The rotating formats, I think, right? Was it? I don't remember. Increase the cost, but how do you increase the cost? You cannot change the cards. You make a new card, right? Imagine Recotail Artalion bouncing your lands, and you are now 3 turns behind. Wait. You know what? What I like about the Xyz monsters is that they have their own like resource, right? Which is the card materials, right? The Xyz materials are so good, right? Because they basically have their own like mana or whatever. I don't know what to call it, right? But they have their own resource to activate the effects. I feel like that's really cool. I feel like maybe we should have like a state with stuff like that. But no pendulum.
Konami needs to rein in a powerful effect. The only place that restriction can live is inside the card text. You can only use this effect once per turn. You cannot special summon other monsters turn you activate this. And as the game gets more powerful, these restrictions pile up. One effect turns into one effect plus 3 clauses plus 2 exceptions plus a hard once per turn. Multiply that across a 40 to 60 card deck and hundreds of possible interactions. And you start to understand why a judge might need to get involved in resolving a single turn. This isn't something that crept over time. It was built into the foundation from day one.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I know erratas count. Erratas? I don't know. They count, but they are like a last resource thing. That is not a common thing. It's only something that happens when something is like actually makes no sense, right? Like it's problematic because it makes no sense. Not because it's too good, right? Or because it was a mistake. I don't know. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Most card games use rotations. Old sets go illegal in the main competitive format after a few years. You get some time with your cards, then they move to a legacy format while the main game resets with a fresh pool. It keeps the card pool manageable, gives new players an entry point that isn't 25 years deep, and it gives designer room to breathe every couple years. Yu-Gi-Oh has never done this once in its entire history. Every card printed, except the ones explicitly on the Forbidden and Limited list, is still legal to play right now. You can literally pull out a deck that you built in 2007, swap out whatever got banned or unbanned in the meantime, and play that deck at a local tournament this weekend. It might not be the greatest in today's modern standard, but
that's
it's
an understatement.
legal. The community genuinely loves this about the game. That a card you worked for at 10 years old or 15
if there is life out there, let's teach you how to duel.
years old is still yours in a meaningful way. But the business consequence is that the only reason to buy new cards is if they're better than the ones you already have. Konami has to keep printing things that make you want to upgrade, because unlike Magic or Pokemon, there is no rotation forcing your hand. So
yeah, that's what I said at the start, and he said that wasn't the case, right? That is because like more cards, newer cards needs to be sold. So in order to sell these new cards, they have to be better than the previous one, and that like creates a power creep situation, which is hard to come back from, right? It makes like the game different because everything has to be better than the previous stuff. I don't know.
Every new set has to edge out the last one in power. Power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh isn't a design flaw, it's load bearing. It's structurally necessary for the whole thing to stay standing financially. And since stronger cards need more restrictive text to keep them in check, circling back to the first point, the complexity compounds itself every release cycle, and it has been doing so for 25 years. Yu-Gi-Oh isn't just a card game. It's a franchise, and there's always been an anime running alongside it. Every new anime series needs something set apart from the previous one. Some new hook that makes the duels look fresh on screen and gives the writers something
card
to build
games on
storylines around.
motorcycles.
In the original series, Yu-Gi just played with monsters, spells, and traps and fusions, and that was enough. But by 2008, when 5D started, the writers needed to give their characters something new to do. They invented synchro summoning, and because they put it into the anime, Konami had to put it in the real card game. The two have always moved together. Then Zexo came along and needed XZs. Then Arc V needed pendulums. Then Vrains needed links. Each time a brand new mechanic for the show becomes another layer sitting on top of the card game. And that's the thing that makes this compound over time, is that none of them ever actually replace what comes before. They just joined in. The modern game contains...
That's cool, right? We just have new stuff every time, and we don't have to get rid of the previous stuff. Hello, Zen. Welcome. Yeah, but the set rotation still have power creep because more power, more fun, you know? True. But it's like in a balance aspect. The balance aspect is like easier to keep track of, right? To keep it in check, because you are making something from the ground up, right? Even if it's more power and more fun, you kind of understand how the game is evolving, so it's easier to balance? Question mark? Maybe? I don't know.
It's every summoning mechanic ever invented across every Yu-Gi-Oh anime series, all simultaneously legal, all capable of interacting with each other in ways no individual designer could have fully mapped out when they were adding the latest one. The newest series, Go Rush, runs a simplified format called Rush Duels, where the rules are stripped way back. And I think that tells you something where things stand. That's Konami accepting that the main game, advanced format, can't really be walked back, and quietly building a second, easier version on the side. With all that in mind, then let's walk through what actually happened, era by era, because each one follows roughly the same shape. New mechanic drops, part of the community melts down, the outrage eventually fades, and then the next one drops. And each era has its own flavor of different community meltdown that is worth looking at. When 5Ds dropped Synchros, the forums lit up. You had threads on Pojo, GameFAQs, YouTube comments, all some version of the same thing. They ruined it. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. I'm done. And if you've been around this community for any amount of time, so you already know exactly how this sounds.
We were talking about this the other day. Like, I kind of wanted to see reactions. I don't know if there is like Yugitubers at the time that reacted to Pendulum. Like, I want to see like a Yugituber's reaction of finding out about pendulums. I probably there is about links. Most likely there is. But I want to see like a Yugituber who like already loves the game, creates content about the game, and then okay, pendulums is now a thing, and how they like theorize about that. I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, pendulum is barely used, Pepper. No, yeah, well, I'm saying it's like at the time, right? I don't know. What do I know?
Because the exact same thing got said when Xyz dropped, and when Pendulum drops, and when Links dropped. Every single time, without fail, a portion of the community declared the game.
These comments are so funny. Boys, we have an announcement for now how to slow down the game. Yu-Gi-Oh was dead to me when Konami shut down YGO Pro and Dueling Network. This is just the last nail in an already tightly sealed coffin. There goes my chance of returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! Great. This person wasn't even gonna he wasn't even considering returning. That's the worst part.
Dead. Looking back at it though, Synchros.
There was the archetype meltdown before 5D's era. Wait, what's that? Archetype meltdown? What does that mean? People were complaining about the existence of archetypes? Is that what you mean? Was that a thing? I always found like archetypes like a cool thing. I always like that. When like with the Gladiator's Beast and stuff like that, like the heroes, like the Archfiends, I think it was, I think. Oh yeah, only main pendulums are DDD and Supreme King Dragon. There are some decks currently that they are not pendulum decks, but they kind of make use of pendulums, right? Let me think. Actually, no, I might be wrong. I don't think there is a meta deck right now, like a tier 1 deck that actively uses the pendulum, maybe pendulum cards, but not the pendulum like mechanics that much, or not at all, I think. Well, I'm thinking masterduel right now. In TCG they have Unicraft, right? Unicraft is pendulum, right? Yeah, I'm thinking about masterduel right now, but like they have Unicraft and probably something else in the TCG. I don't know if that's a tier 1 though. Decks went from slop piles to specific archetypes, and people felt like it creative deck building. That makes like creative deck building more fun. I'm trying to make Orai's Draco Tail. Interesting. I haven't seen that. Sounds interesting. Master needs to add a pendulum event. Probably. We'll see how that goes.
Were genuinely the cleanest mechanic they've ever added. I love Synchros. You put a tuner monster and some non-tuners on the field, their levels add up, you gotta do some math, and out it comes. It rewarded thinking a turn ahead and knowing your deck. To me, that was pretty cool and rewarding.
Yeah.
And what Synchros did, and this matters in the long term, was change what the extra deck was for. Before Synchros, your extra deck was basically a closet for polymerization. You kept fusion monsters in there. If you have polymerization, you can get access to one of your cool fusions in your extra deck. Or if you have cards like Instant Fusion or Metamorphosis, you can get access to cards like Thousand Eyes. But after Synchros...
Because Synchros were mainly... what is the word that I'm looking for? Generic, right? You just needed the levels. You need a specific monsters like for fusions. I know fusions usually says things like, oh yeah, monster from this attribute or from this type and stuff like that. But Synchros were more generic, so you could have like everything in your extra deck.
In my opinion, the extra deck became a focal point. Your main deck is now a machine without needing the requirement of polymerization, whose job was to
all of these are generic. Awesome.
Get the right monsters out of your extra deck. Everything that's happened in the game since is built on the same principle. Xyz arrived 3 years later, and yeah, it got the same energy that Synchros got. New things drop, community loses its mind, they ruined it. And you know the drill by now. But looking back, Xyz was actually a pretty natural next step. The mechanic itself isn't that complicated. You overlay 2 or more monsters of the same level on top of each other, and the Xyz monster sits on top with its materials underneath. You detach those materials one at a time to use its effects. That's it. It gave the extra deck another lane to work with. And honestly, in my opinion, it worked well. Some of the most beloved decks in the entire game were built around Xyz monsters. The real issue wasn't Xyz itself, it was what came with it. The moment
What?
Xyz launched, synchro support
Oh no! It's Shockmaster with his little face there. Is this also banned, I think? These are also probably banned.
slowly faded. All the new sets were pushing Xyz, the competitive meta followed, and if you spent real money building a synchro deck, you were suddenly playing an underpowered strategy in a format that had moved past you. Xyz and synchros was never the problem. It was just the patterns surrounding it. Because this is the moment that pattern locked in for good.
What do I like more, synchros or Xyz? I prefer Xyz over synchros by a lot. By a lot. I think it's really... Xyz is just, it just makes sense. Like, it also feels like better for the game. I don't know. Hello, Young Maker. Welcome, welcome.
Every new mechanic from here would carry an unspoken message. What you were playing before is slowly becoming irrelevant. At this point, some players could combine both in their decks, and some quietly just quit and walked away. In my opinion, Pendulum's where I think the game genuinely lost a chunk of their audience. Specifically upon release of Duelist Alliance back in 2014. Because Pendulum didn't just add...
That's when the game was ruined. You know what? I like pendulums. I like pendulums. I like pendulums. But we have to agree that they are like very complicated, and it makes perfect sense why a lot of people hate it. Yeah. I'm hurt as a synchro player. No, I also like synchros. I think synchros are really cool. I just think that Xyz are cooler. It's just a matter of taste. I just prefer Xyz. Pendulums though. Yeah.
Added new mechanic. They asked you to rethink what a Yu-Gi-Oh card fundamentally was. A pendulum monster can be played as a regular monster, or you can place it in one of the new
Zuringa 99. Thank you so much for the follow. I enjoy pendulums, but yeah, I understand why it hurts the game. Totally. Oh, yeah. Embracing change is important. I like Yosenju. What's that? Pepper, they made Yu-Gi-Oh players do the forbidden power reading. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the thing. I don't think that was a problem. The problem is that the effects are not written in the cards, right? Not the effects, like the mechanics are new rules, basically. It's nowhere in the card says that when this is like destroyed, it doesn't go to the graveyard. It goes face up on the extra deck? What? And you cannot use cards that send them to the graveyard for fusion, like for contact fusion, because they don't go to the graveyard, right? They go to the extra deck. What? I get what that's a thing, but like that makes the game like unreasonably more complicated for people that already know the game, because that's not part of the rules. And for new players, it's like, why only these cards are different, right? That's the issue. Long video today? Yeah, today we're watching a few long videos. Hi Firegun, welcome. Pendulum cards are not very intuitive. Yeah, exactly, they are not intuitive, that's the issue. And there are very specific rulings, like if used as Xyz material, it goes to the graveyard. Yeah, when you like send you use them, right? You discard the Xyz material. I don't know if discard is the term. I don't remember what is the term exactly. I don't want to say something wrong, but you know what I mean. Yeah, he didn't leave the field. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't work like other cards. That's the issue. I also just pulled Unity, one of the few cards in Yugi and the gang on it. Oh, Unity! Yeah. The cards with the anime characters. Yeah, they have that in different animes. That's awesome. Sounds like a cool collection to have. Like, you just collect cards that include the anime people. If pendulum cards are half spell cards, does that mean we're gonna get monsters that are half trap cards? Those are called flip monsters, I guess. You know what? I never thought about it like that, but you are cooking. I think you're right. Pendulum is for advanced players or something. Yes. Yes. For people who actually care about the game and like really like it and study it and are competitive, yeah, it's no problem. But it hurts the game because it makes it complicated for returning players, for more casual players, and for new players. That's the issue. Like any situation, it's just more you do, it's easier. Yeah, for you to understand. Totally, I agree. I would trade my 3 god cards for a Sark. Yeah, that is beside the point. It's why I make a deck for each generation series to be able to use all summon methods. Well, I also use all summon methods with, you know, meta decks, right? I don't think you need to use like something from different generations. You can do it because you like it, obviously, but you don't have to in order to use all summon methods, right? Right now, if you want Xyz, you use like K9 or something. I mean, I guess there is more than K9. I just the first one that I could think of. For like synchros, you have the Cool Tune. For fusions, you have Dracotail. I don't know if Dracotail is still relevant in the TCG. I'm mostly talking about what I know, right? And yeah, for pendulums, there is also like Inecraft. I don't know what it's called, right? That's probably gonna come to masterduel in 2 weeks. Will I build that? No. Under any circumstances, I'm building that. Good luck on your video, Crispy Applesauce, by the way. Good luck on your video about Inecraft. I'm gonna use that as my religion when it comes out. Pepper, you should make a dual room, but we go through each generation. Okay, that sounds interesting. We can try that. Dracotail is tied to the hip to Bandit right now. Well, yeah, but it's also fusion. It's a still fusion. Yeah, I don't know why we went into that tangent, but yes. Oh, me watching this while I'm building a DDD deck, and I'm proud of you. DDD. Triple D, right? They have like a little bit of everything, so I like it. I'm trying to build a good Thunder deck. More power to you. Yeah, do that. Thunder, very unrepresented. Although we're getting, oh no, that's not a Thunder. That's not the Blitzclick. Isn't gonna be a Thunder deck, but it's gonna use Thunder cards, I think. Didn't Dracotail get hit by the ban list? Yes, but that does mean it's unplayable. Totally not. It's still really good.
Can be played as a regular monster, or you can place it in one of the new pendulum zones on either end of your field, where it acts as a continuous spell.
What?
I know it gets confusing.
That's not the confusing part. That's very simple to understand. That is not a problem at all. That is not the problem.
And then, if you got one in each zone, you could pendulum summon, bring out a bunch of monsters from your hand simultaneously every single turn.
Okay, now that sounds really overpowered, but realistically, that's never happening, right? Realistically, that's never happening.
As long as their levels fall between the 2 scale numbers on your pendulum cards. I know, guys, it's a mouthful, man.
That's not complicated. That's not the complicated part. If anything, the complicated part is that is never explained, right? You have to get the rule book in there. But like, it by itself is not hard to understand.
They also physically changed the field. The zones on either end of the spell and trap row were repurposed. The field most people had been playing since 1989 was now laid out differently. Competitively, the problem was immediate. Being able to dump multiple monsters onto the field in one go meant going first became overwhelmingly powerful. The whole game basically became who can build the biggest board while going first. And if you basically can't break my board, you lose. And that's the thing that still defines modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. But in my opinion, pendulums made everything worse. By 2017, Konami has clearly...
We didn't address the elephant in the room. The actual problem with pendulums is like how they interact with other cards. That's a real issue for me. That's a real issue. Like, the way that they interact with other cards are not intuitive. And I feel like that's the problem, not everything previously stated. But trust me, the scale seems the most important part of the pendulum summon. I know. That's what makes them like the the thing. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But like that is not what breaks the game, basically. That is not what makes it complicated. Complicated. We're talking about complicated. If we're talking complicated, I don't think that's what makes it complicated.
Noticed that Pendulum was the problem. Going first has gotten so powerful it was practically a coin flip for who won the game. Something had to change. So they introduced Link summoning alongside a major rule overhaul they called Master Rule 4. Under the new rules, most extra deck monsters could no longer go in your regular 5 monster zones. They could only go into one of 2 new extra monster zones. So adding 2 new field parts onto the field. 1 per player in the top middle of the field. To place more than 1 extra deck monster, you would require a Link monster, which would have to have directional arrows on them pointing at adjacent zones. Those arrows would unlock the neighboring zones for your extra deck use. To be honest, guys, even making this script and just reading that sounds confusing for new players. Like
Okay, I was about to crash out because he was saying, like, what are you talking about? Like, you actually know the game. For new players, okay, I get it.
could understand why Yu-Gi-Oh is just so confusing, because like, what the F did I just mention? Like, if you're watching this video and you're like, yo, Sam, what the heck are you talking about? The goal of Link summoning
I'm not the target audience for this video. My bad, chat. My bad. I'm not the target audience for this video. I already know what the target audience is. I mean, I should have known. But yeah.
Limit how crowded boards could get. Cap how many powerful monsters you could have out simultaneously. Slow down first turns. And make room for actual back and forth gameplay. That was the purpose of Link monsters. Why Konami decided to do that? To kind of nerf pendulums a bit and slow the game down by having you access Link monsters first, and then you can summon your powerful extra deck monsters to their zones. You get where I'm going here? But what?
No, yeah, but like the weird part is that they force everyone to play Links. Yeah.
Actually happened was that players figured out how to chain Link summons together in a way that opened up basically every zone anyway. The boards actually didn't get smaller with all the resources that we have accumulated with Pendulum monsters, with Synchro monsters, with Xyz monsters, and no set rotations, and basically having access to every card in the game aside from the ones on the Forbidden Limit list. People found a way to crack Link summoning. They broke it. Boards took extra steps to build, but the game didn't get any slower. It just got more complicated, which, given what they were trying to accomplish, is almost as impressive as a failure. Links didn't fix anything, guys. And the funny thing is, Konami quietly walked most of it back in 2020. Regular extra deck monsters can go in the main monster zone again, but Links and Pendulums kept the new restrictions. And the whole entire thing left the game in a state where you got 6 summoning types operating under 3 different sets of placement rules at the same time. And at some point, the word complicated was an understatement. There's a word that comes up constantly whenever someone talks about modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Solitaire.
Me? Duel you? I would have more of a challenge playing solitaire.
Kaiba literally spoke it into existence. I've heard this many times. I just sat there and watched my opponent combo off for 30 minutes and I couldn't do nothing. I just watched them play. I agree.
That happens because you have a bad deck. No, I'm rage baiting. It's actually not true. But it is what it is. I get it.
It's not entirely fair. The game does have real interaction and genuine counterplays. It's just not one person doing a bunch of things in a vacuum all the time. But the feeling behind that complaint is real. And going second in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Against a well-prepared going first strategy can genuinely feel like you're just there as an observer.
That's led to new players and they leave. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. You cannot tell that to new players. However, nah, I'm just kidding.
The reason for that directly comes from everything we've covered. Here's roughly on what one turn of Yu-Gi-Oh! Looks like. And guys, this is our end board, bro. I don't know how we're losing exactly, but if I lose, I'm a bot, I think.
How do you break this board, Chad? I'm pretty sure there's ways to... Oh, super polymerization, yes.
But this is our end board, bro, against Yummy. Against Yummy, by the way. This is the end board, all right? And there's like... Yeah, you get it. By the time your opponent passes back their turn to you, you might be staring at 5 to 7 to 10, 15 negates that your opponent has on the field for your 6-card hand to try to eventually deal with. You literally sit there for 30 minutes, watch your opponent combo, and just lose. The community solution to this was hand traps. Monsters you keep in hand to activate during your opponent's turn without ever putting them on the field. Ash Blossom stops your opponent from searching the deck.
Why do you use that version?
The board after their 5th summon. Effect Failure shuts off a monster effect mid-combo. They exist specifically because going second in this game without that kind of disruption in hand is close to unwinnable, which means every competitive deck now has to split their space between hand traps.
Oh no, and now every deck is the same. Every deck looks the same. It's like 15 cards in every deck. It's like the same. Oh no.
An engine. And to use those hand traps effectively, you'll need to know your opponent's combo well enough to spot which step is critical to hit.
Okay, that's actually the main thing here. Like as a new player, you have, even if you craft like all the hand traps and you're playing a competitive deck, how do you know what to use your hand traps on, right? How do you need to know not only your deck, but the opponent's deck. You need to know the combo lines and the type of cards that they could have, right? What else could they have? How many of these cards they are running in order to do that? Yeah, that's the hardest part for new players. That you have no idea what your opponent is doing, and you just cannot learn every single game, every single and you're gonna say like, oh yeah, you can just read the card, but reading the card is not gonna tell you what else does the opponent have in the deck, right? And how this card like interacts with the other cards. You just don't know what is going on there. It's so boring, kills the vibe of my archetype when what? Yeah, no more creative deck, just meta and anti-meta deck. Only imagine AI replacing Yu-Gi-Oh players. What are you talking about?
Ash Blossom in the wrong place, you basically wasted it. So to play this game seriously, you're coming in with a working knowledge of 20, 30 different decks you might face. In modern Yu-Gi-Oh, there's usually like 3 to 5 best decks. And if you're a new player, you'll need to learn how to play against all those 5 best decks to even do well. And if you're going to a regional, you might not even face one of these 5 decks and play a deck that nobody has played for over 5 years that's still good to this day. What I'm trying to get at is that basically modern Yu-Gi-Oh, you need to go to university, bro.
Godolkin University from Gen V, spin-off of The Boys. That's so funny. I want to make ChatGPT have a Yu-Gi-Oh duel with Grok. That would be funny. Like making 2 different AIs duel each other and see which one is better at Yu-Gi-Oh. That sounds like it's possible. That sounds like a good concept for a video. I'm not gonna do that though, but sounds interesting.
Right now, with all the knowledge I've accumulated over the years, I will still understand on how to hand trap a true Draco deck that was competitive back in 2018. You know, because I played against that format. You guys see, right? It can get very difficult because there are tons of decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And for example, like till this day, Mermails are still good. You know what I'm saying? But that deck is not like a top 5 best deck. It's like, I don't know, the 20th best deck. But if you're playing against Mermails and you don't know what the heck the deck does, you're basically gonna lose.
Yeah, I have no idea what that
guys,
is.
That big knowledge is what makes playing the game satisfying, especially for me. Soom to this day will know how to play Black Wings if I give him a Black Wing deck, because Soom and I played that format together. If I give my brother an Elemental Hero deck, he would understand how to play that deck still. But if I put him in a regional tomorrow, he will get destroyed by Yummy Cupsy, bro. And he won't even know what the hell is going on.
That's so true. That happened to me when I started playing Master Duel. Like 6 months ago, I just started playing and I'm like, oh yeah, Cyber Dragon. I read my cards and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I didn't know about Core and Naxter and Infinity, but like they have like intuitive effects. Like it makes sense. I see it. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the opponent's playing Malice, right? And I'm like, what? Why they keep summoning things that are banished and why they keep drawing cards? What do they have a full board and they just keep drawing cards? How does that work? Right? That is not fair. What do? I don't even have hand traps. What do? I just lose. If the opponent is playing Malice and I'm playing a Cyber Dragon deck going I just lose because I don't know what they do, right? I don't know.
If you're that type of person that wants to come back, Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't open the door for you gently. This is the question underneath all of it. Just simplify it. Introduce rotation. Wipe the extra deck slate clean. Cut out all the hand traps. Start fresh. Why hasn't Konami done any of that? And the uncomfortable answer is that the players themselves are a big part of why not. For example, when Konami put out Speed Duel, a stripped down format with smaller decks, a reduced field, simpler rules, basically Duel Links. People played it at events, they had fun with it, and then they just went back to the main format or they just quit. Speed Duel basically got treated as a fun side event mode, not considered a real game. Someone who used to work on the game talked about this, how they spent years pushing alternate formats and new product lines, and the wall they kept hitting was the weight of 25 years of player identity that was wrapped in advanced format. People had already spent thousands of dollars on cards for it. They put in hundreds of hours learning it, and anything that wasn't like advanced format just felt like a knockoff of it. The player base wasn't fully interested in that type of deal. The people who play Yu-Gi-Oh the most are also the most invested in it, staying exactly as complicated as it is.
But I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want to play the other stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And then someone is going to say, oh, but what you're playing is not Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I already invested in timing it. It's not that I invest time of it. I just like it. It's just a fun game. Why would I play something else, right? If I wanted to play something else, I will play something else. I will play Pokemon. I will play One Piece. I will play Hearthstone. I will play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah.
Guys, the complexity isn't our burden. It's our credentials.
What?
I'm proud that I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. No cap. Okay, a lot of you guys are jokes. How is Sam an expert? Is Sam even a pro? Please.
I hate this. Oh my god, Cancun, Mexico 2024. Psst. Psst. His name is Sam? He's not Samuel or something? His name is actually Sam?
Yeah. From a business angle, I'm gonna pretend I'm Konami, okay? Who are we actually making the cards for? The veterans have the spending history and the loyalty. The new players are a bet that might not pay off. The incentives all pull the same direction. Konami is actually aware that the pipeline is broken. Their very own shareholders materials flagged that masterduel was pulling in new players who weren't converting into the paper game. People would install it, play it for a few weeks. Some of their answers have been rush duels in Japan. And then in September 2025, for the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, Konami did something nobody expected. They announced Genesis format, a fully supported alternate format where links and pendulums are banned outright.
Yes! Yes! Yeah, we don't have those complicated stuff. We just have Shockmaster. You really never knew his name is actually Sam? I thought his name was... Actually, I didn't know his name. I thought like it was because of Team Samurai, right? So that it was like Sam from Samurai. And then I was like, okay, his name is actually Sam. Cool. But like not Samuel, but just Sam. I feel like that's unusual. I don't know. That sounds unusual to me. I love playing Genesis. I'm losing to Cool Tune there too. Yeah, so good.
Field layout comes back and the ban list gets thrown out entirely. And instead of restricting cards by banning them, you use a point system when building your deck. The game looks at a glance a lot closer to what most people remembered. They ran Genesis events at YCS tournaments through late 2025, and the first full YCS with Genesis as the main event happened in Virginia in February 2026. And that's not nothing. Konami spent time building that format quietly, and they definitely have heard all these conversations about how the game has become so complicated. All in all, even...
Wait, Sam is from Samurai. I ordered a card from his shop and it has his actual name on it. And it's not Sam? And it's not Sam then, since his name is not actually Sam?
with Genesis, advanced
nope.
format is still the most popular. Genesis format exists alongside it, not instead of it, which tells you everything about the bind that Konami is in. They can build a gazillion formats for the people who got left behind. What they can't do is take the complicated version away for the people who stayed. And that's why things can't get fixed. So when did Yu-Gi-Oh! Become so complicated? It was complicated.
Complexity
in
is
2008
the game.
If you only know the original game. Very complicated by 2014 if synchros and XCs were your whole world. And it became what it is today through 25 years of individuality, reasonable decisions that stacked on each other into something that, viewed all at once from the outside, looks almost impenetrable. A mannerless game that can't stop printing more powerful cards. Hooked to an anime that keeps demanding new mechanics with every layer preserved on top of the last. Hundreds of thousands of people love the game at its current state. People who get real satisfaction out of learning a combo sequence until it's second nature. Who feel the click of calling the right negate at the right moment. Who comes into a match knowing your opponent's deck inside and out. That's a legitimate and deep relationship with the game, and the people who have it aren't wrong for having it. The thing that stays with me is the people that can't get back in. The ones that had their Blue Eyes deck, their Exodia pieces, their
Shut up, you can play those. You can play those now. You can play those.
Egyptian God cards. Who remembers dueling as something that felt like pure chaos and pure magic at the same time? Where all the information you needed fit on a single card and the stakes were whatever was in your pocket. Bind by a rubber band. Isn't that crazy? Y'all remember those days with your decks in your pocket with a rubber band around it? That's me.
Yes, that's how you do it now.
That version of the game is still technically here somewhere, buried between all these new rules and mechanics. But unfortunately, you won't be able to reach it from a competitive standpoint anymore. The game grew up. It grew up alongside its original audience, and it was
Yeah, that's that's the moral of the story. Grow up. Grow up. That's the moral of the story. I love Genesis when it released last year. Now I am waiting for Master Duel. Yeah, I can't wait for Genesis to be in Master Duel. I'm sure that's gonna happen one day. Hello, Turindos. Welcome, welcome. Game versus anime. Which one will win? Game. Pepper, where can you play those cards? Which cards? Sorry. Oh, the Exodia pieces. There is like the Fusion Exodia one, and Blue Eyes. It's the main part of a competitive deck, right? Not like super competitive. It's not like tier 1, but you can compete with it, at least as a rogue deck. I think it was the best one at a few years ago, and it's still the same. You can play that. You can play that and compete. You're not gonna get stomped, like absolutely destroyed, if you play Blue Eyes or like the Exodia guy. I don't know. That's the thing that people play.
absorbed everything they wanted as their taste got more complex. And it ended up somewhere the 10-year-old version of most of us wouldn't recognize. Whether that's something to be proud of probably depends on whether you kept playing. Thanks for watching.
Wow, cool video, cool video. Yeah, you know, well, I already like said my stuff. Like, yeah, I disagree with a lot of things. I agree with a lot of other ones. The main thing is that, yeah, the game is complicated. Yeah, I understand. Solution: grow up. Solution: grow up. That's it. I'm sure if everyone that is watching my video already, like, is probably not the target audience of this video in particular. The people that are watching my reaction is the people that are already like super invested into Yu-Gi-Oh. Can you imagine like someone that is not someone that is like really into Yu-Gi-Oh watching a super niche Peruvian VTuber reacting to why the game is complicated? Why would you watch that if you're not like super into Yu-Gi-Oh, that you only consume Yu-Gi-Oh content? Like me, I like me, I get it, I understand. The more I play the Gate Guardian deck, the more I like it. Yeah, that's also a deck that you can play, right? They have made so many retrains and ways to play all cards now. Oh, you like Call of the Hunted? Yeah, that's a thing now. Pepper, what more videos are we gonna watch? Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get there, don't worry. That's why Sam has almost 1 million subs. He makes a huge essay to just say, grow up, fam. I don't know if that was like his conclusion, but that's what I got from that video. From the video, it's like, grow up. I used to play. I used to be pretty awful. Like, oh, it used to be pretty awful. Sorry, it's my dyslexia right now. It used to be pretty awful. Yeah. But you can get more. Yeah, we're getting tool support too. We're getting cool stuff now. So yeah. Let me know what is the most complicated part in your opinion, chat. what is the most complicated part of Yu-Gi-Oh? For me, I think it will be like the need of knowledge of your opponent's deck more than anything else, because the rules you can read them one time and you can reread them, but you never know what you're gonna go against, and there is so many cards that do so many things, and since the effects are so convoluted, that's the issue, right? If there were only like 4 decks that are realistically playable, you can just learn the 4 of them and move on, right? But since you have to learn so many things, that's what makes it complicated. In my opinion, that's what makes it hard for new players. So yeah, let me know about your opinion. Thank you.